Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another edition of Industry News. So, in the continuing saga of Peloton, I wish to give you a little bit of an update. Hopefully, this isn't all new news, but I do have another video that I'll link down below where I talked about Peloton a few months ago. I can't remember when, but what spurred this on was that I had a customer today. Her and her brother came in. They wanted some shoes. And as we got into the discussion, it was for a Peloton bike that they are having delivered on Monday. And it made me wonder, what's going on with Peloton lately? And so here we are. We're going to talk about Peloton for a few minutes, and then we're also going to talk about SoulCycle, because these are two similar things, but in different markets, obviously. But, one being in-home and one being in-studio, but they could complement each other or compete against each other depending on the customer. So let's talk about how Peloton, and this is I'm quoting several sources, but basically it's business news from CNN. In case you haven't seen the other video, Peloton stock is down 90%. I mean, I don't know how much lower you can get now. 90% from its high back in 2020 during the pandemic lockdown. So of course, you can't go to the gym, you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't go to the national park, whatever. So people were buying Pelotons for their in-home studio use, garage, wherever. Well, there are, the pendulum has swung the other way, and I've talked about this for other folks. I did a video on Saris as well. They have too much inventory now, and so Peloton's the same situation. They have way too much inventory. And when I was talking to my customer, she said, yeah, they just hiked the price $500 for the bike, for the Peloton bike. And I said, wow, I really got to look this up, because $500 is a lot. Well, it turns out that the $500 price hike is because they're trying to get it back. I guess they've reduced prices, and now they're trying to get it back to the price it was back in April. So I guess they dropped the price, trying to move inventory, and now they brought the price of the bike for the Bike Plus model back up to $24.95. And they raised the treadmill price $800. So now the treadmill is $34.95, so let's call it $3,500. That is a very expensive treadmill. And my guess is if you can afford a $3,500 treadmill, well, then the price hike doesn't impact you. That's my guess. But anyway, so there's layoffs. And looking at laying off another 800 employees. And so the new CEO who joined in February, he comes from the tech industry. And, this is basically a sinking ship that he's got to, bail out and find where the hole is, and in the hull of the ship, and try to plug it up and try to keep this ship from sinking. He comes from the tech industry, and, here he is in the fitness industry. But, some things are fairly easy to transition from one industry to another. If you have too much inventory, if you have too many employees, all that kind of stuff, that's fairly similar in different industries. So, but anyway, they're also closing 86 locations, Peloton is. And, that means, of course, sales staff and people like that have to go. And home delivery. So this was interesting, because I was talking about this with my customer. And we were talking about, the pedals and what wrench you're going to need to get those off and put SPD mountain style pedals on the bike. And then she said, no, well, they're going to deliver it. So if they deliver it, then I'll just tell them not to put the pedals on and so on and so forth. But that's going to be outsourced now to a third-party company because that was being done by the employees. So, these layoffs include people from customer service, the home delivery people, the warehouse people, and then just staff that they just blanket people as staff. And the thing is, the revenue is down because they're not selling enough bikes, and if you don't sell enough bikes, then you don't get the subscriptions. And the subscription, that monthly fee, is where a lot of companies, that's their cash cow. They have like a plateau or a bottom floor that at least their revenue from there can grow because you got these subscriptions coming in month after month after month. So there's that. But, one of the analysts, this was interesting. So one of the analysts, I forget which company he's from. Let me see if I can, from Global Data, managing director of Global Data, Neil Saunders. So, finger quotes, he said that this company is spiraling out of control. And, they have to really, really cut back on a lot of stuff. But yet, somehow, Peloton was still able to get a $750 million loan. So that's $750 million. That is a lot of money, a 5-year loan. It makes me wonder who would loan them that much money. So apparently they had $879 million cash reserves, but that wasn't enough. So they needed to have more cash and more stuff. Now, because certain companies affect other companies, I mentioned this in my other video, where if you're not buying the Peloton bikes, well, then you're not financing the bikes. And if you're not financing, then the company that was doing the financing is not getting, not getting the loan and not getting the finance charges and all that stuff. So, there's a cascading effect. In this case, because they have too much inventory and they're trying to reduce their cost as well, they have now moved their production to Taiwan. So they're going to outsource the manufacturing of their Peloton bikes. And so that means that the ripple effect for that was that the company that they were using, and let me make sure I get the name of the company right, Tonic Fitness Technologies. They bought that company in 2019. Well, they just had to lay off 600 employees there because, well, they're not going to manufacture these Peloton bikes here in the United States anymore. So, a lot of upheaval going on with Peloton. So maybe you missed your window if you wanted to get a Peloton bike. I guess back in April to just recently, it was $500 off. But, let me know if you own a Peloton bike, if you are feeling some of the effects of customer support or lack of customer support or reduction in customer support. I don't think that the new home delivery outsource people are doing those deliveries yet, so we don't have any customer feedback on how they are treating this process. I think there's more vested interest if the Peloton employees were setting up the Peloton bike at home. So let me just make sure I covered all the points here, but in the end, Peloton has about 5,000 employees. So that's kind of where they're going to end up after all these layoffs. And I don't see that stopping. I see a lot more layoffs coming from them. But that's what we're going to talk about Peloton. The other one is SoulCycle. And the thing about SoulCycle is, like I said, the Peloton is in the house. SoulCycle is obviously outside the house, but it's a boutique or a niche type of spin gym, and of course it's owned by a boutique and niche gym company called Equinox. And so they're having troubles. They're closing 25% of their locations. Now they only have about 25%, so that's about 20 stores is what they're saying. 20 locations. There's their flagship location is in New York City, so they're going to close, I think, let me get the numbers here. So 6 in New York City, 5 in California. They didn't state where. There's also going to be Washington, D.C., Massachusetts, Illinois, Florida, and Georgia. So some of these states are affected. Looks like they're quite coastal, right? New York, Florida, Georgia, California, D.C., Massachusetts. Yeah, I mean, I guess the middle part is just Illinois, not much in the middle part of the country. So they're laying off 75 employees to accomplish this. And so that leaves them with about 1,350 after these layoffs. And this was a situation where Peloton grew exponentially during the pandemic. They had to close their stores, and then based on the regional area, the governors of the states, some of these stores never reopened. Some took a year to reopen, and that just killed a lot of SoulCycle. Now, one interesting thing about the locations, they're also closing the Toronto one, and that means they are no longer in Canada. So there's that. They tried to do a $2,500 bike, but here's the thing. I mean, the 800-pound gorilla in the indoor bike market is Peloton. So, I mean, the bike competed on price, but what was the quality and what was the name recognition, or how much of the indoor spin people said, oh yeah, I want that bike in my home instead, since I can't go there to the indoor gym anyway. But this also brings up the fitness industry in general. So there was another gym called spin gym called Flywheel, and now they close in September of 2020. They close permanently. They didn't list how many locations. And then NordicTrack's parent company called iFit Health and Fitness, I guess it's called, they delayed their IPO, their initial public offering. Well, they scrapped it. I don't know if it's delayed and postponed, but they said they scrapped it. So, they realized that if they went public, the IPO wouldn't go anywhere. But on the other hand, we have Planet Fitness, and Planet Fitness, with its low memberships of $10 a month, as low as $10 a month, they gained 16.5 million new, what would you call them? I don't know. New fitness, new gym rats. But I mean, this is a completely different, completely different turnarounds. Yeah. So it grew its membership base by 16.5 million for Planet Fitness. So, one door closes, another door opens. Doesn't typically always have to be for the same business, but within the industry, that's what's going on. So that is today's industry news. SoulCycle and Peloton in the news again. I'd like to hear from you folks. Are you still riding indoor spin gyms, or are you back outside? Are you still riding your Peloton bike at home? How's the customer service? All those kinds of things. So anyway, please like and subscribe, and we will see you up the road.